Right now, something is already in motion, and whether you realize it or not, you are standing at the edge of a moment that is about to shift your path in a way you didn't see coming. This is not about chance, and it's not just another passing moment in your day. There is a reason your attention is being pulled here, a reason you feel something slightly different, even if you can't fully explain it yet. Because within a very short time, something will reach you. A message, a realization, or an unexpected connection, and when it does, it will carry more meaning than you initially expect. You may think it's small at first. You may even question it. But what you don't see yet is how deeply it connects to everything you've been experiencing recently. Think about the last few days. The thoughts you've been having, the things that didn't quite make sense, the moments where you felt like something was about to change, but nothing had happened yet. That feeling was not random. It was a signal. Something has been building quietly. Something has been aligning behind the scenes. And now it's reaching a point where it can no longer stay hidden. This is why timing matters so much, because if this had happened earlier, you might have overlooked it or dismissed it without realizing its importance. But now, you are more aware than before. You are more observant, more sensitive to what feels real and what doesn't. And that is exactly why this moment is happening now and not before. Because what is about to arrive requires your attention, your awareness, and your presence. And once it reaches you, things will not feel the same as they did before. Not because everything changes instantly, but because your understanding will. And that understanding will quietly begin to guide you in a completely different direction. Now this is where you need to slow down and really understand why this moment did not happen earlier. Because what's about to reach you has been delayed for a reason. You may have thought things were taking too long, that answers weren't coming, that situations were staying unclear for no reason at all. But the truth is, this was never about delay in the way you understood it. It was about timing, and more importantly, it was about who you were at the time versus who you are now. Because if this message had come to you before, you would have seen it differently. You might have ignored it, misunderstood it, or even walked away from it without realizing what it truly meant. There were moments in your past where something similar could have appeared, but your mindset, your emotions, and your awareness were not at the level they are now. Back then, you were still reacting based on old patterns. You were still trying to make sense of things through confusion instead of clarity. You were still holding on to expectations that would have clouded your judgment if this moment had arrived too soon. And that's why it didn't. Not because you weren't ready to receive something good, but because you weren't ready to recognize it for what it truly is. Everything that has happened recently, every situation that felt incomplete, every conversation that left you thinking, every moment where you felt like something was missing, all of it was part of preparing you for this exact point. You were being guided without fully realizing it. Certain things were being removed from your focus. Certain distractions were being cleared away. Even the confusion you felt had a purpose, because it forced you to slow down and start paying attention differently. It forced you to question things more deeply, instead of accepting everything at surface level. And as that happened, something inside you began to shift. You became more aware, not just of what's happening around you, but of what you feel within. You started noticing details you would have overlooked before. You began to sense when something carries meaning and when it doesn't. That kind of awareness doesn't come instantly. It develops through experience, through moments that challenge you, through situations that don't go as expected. And all of that has been happening for a reason, because the message that is about to reach you is not something obvious or loud. It's not something that demands attention in a dramatic way. It's something that requires you to be present, to be aware, to notice what others might ignore. And if it had come earlier, when your attention was scattered, or your understanding was still forming, it would have passed right by you without making an impact. You would have seen it as just another moment, instead of recognizing it as something meaningful. That's why this timing matters so much. Not because the message itself changed, but because you did. You are now in a position where you can see things more clearly, where you can feel the difference between what matters and what doesn't. And that changes how you receive what's coming. It changes how you respond to it. It changes the direction you move in afterward. So what felt like waiting was never empty time. It was preparation. What felt like confusion was actually a process of sharpening your awareness. And what felt like nothing happening was actually everything aligning quietly behind the scenes. Because now, as this moment approaches, you are no longer the same person who would have overlooked it. Now you are ready to recognize it, and that recognition is what will begin to change everything that comes next. And now, this is where everything becomes even more important. Because what is about to happen is not just about the message itself, it's about you and how you are going to receive it. Something inside you has already changed, even if you haven't fully noticed it yet. You are not reacting the same way you used to. You are not looking at things with the same mindset you once had. There is a level of awareness within you now that wasn't there before. And that shift is exactly why this moment is unfolding the way it is. Think about how you used to handle uncertainty. You would question everything, overthink every detail, and sometimes ignore what you felt deep inside just to make things make sense on the surface. But now there is a difference. You pause more. You observe more. You don't rush into conclusions the way you once did. And that change didn't happen overnight. It came through everything you've experienced recently, through situations that forced you to slow down and start paying attention in a different way. You've also become more sensitive to what feels real and what doesn't. You can sense when something carries meaning, even if it's not obvious at first. You notice patterns. You recognize when something aligns and when it doesn't. That kind of clarity is not something you can force. It develops naturally when you've gone through enough to understand the difference between what is temporary and what actually matters. And this is exactly what prepares you for what's coming, because the message that is about to reach you is not something that will explain itself completely in words. It will come in a way that requires you to feel it, to recognize it, to connect the pieces on your own. And the version of you from before would not have been able to do that. You might have missed it, doubted it, or brushed it aside as something insignificant. But now, you are in a different place mentally and emotionally. You are able to receive it with clarity instead of confusion. There is also a deeper level of trust building within you. Not blind trust, not ignoring reality, but a quiet understanding that not everything needs to be forced or controlled. You are starting to allow things to unfold instead of trying to figure everything out immediately. And that shift changes how you experience what comes into your life. It allows you to see meaning where you once saw randomness. It allows you to recognize direction where you once felt lost. And this is why this moment matters so much. Because it is not just about something new arriving, it is about you being able to meet it at the level it requires. You're no longer looking at things from a place of doubt alone. You are starting to balance that with awareness, with intuition, with a sense of understanding that goes beyond what is obvious. So when this message reaches you, it will not feel confusing in the way things once did. It will feel clear in a quiet way. It will make sense, not because it is explained perfectly, but because something inside you recognizes it. And that recognition is what will begin to shift your direction. Because now you are not just receiving information, you are understanding it in a way that allows you to move differently. And that is the real change that has been happening within you all along. And now, this is the moment everything has been quietly leading toward, even if it doesn't appear dramatic on the surface. The message that is about to arrive is not something you've been actively waiting for, but it is something that has been moving toward you for a while. It may come in a way that feels ordinary at first. A conversation you didn't expect, a sudden realization, a small detail that stands out more than it should. or even a message from someone you didn't think about recently. And that's exactly why you need to stay aware, because it will not announce itself as something life-changing. It will appear simple, almost easy to overlook, but the impact it carries will go far beyond that first moment. You might not recognize its full meaning immediately, and that's okay. The purpose of it is not to overwhelm you with clarity all at once, but to shift something within you. It will answer a question you've been carrying, even if you haven't said it out loud. It will connect pieces that once felt unrelated. It will reveal something that was hidden in plain sight, something that was always there, but not fully understood until now. And as that understanding begins to settle, you will start to see why everything had to unfold the way it did. What makes this moment different is not just the message itself, but the timing of it. You are no longer in a place where you would ignore it or second-guess it completely. There is a level of awareness within you now that allows you to pause and recognize that something is different. You will feel it in a subtle way, a sense that this is not just another passing moment, but something that carries direction. And that feeling is important because it is guiding you toward a decision, a shift, or a new path that you would not have considered before. This message may not give you all the answers at once, but it will give you enough to move differently. It will point you in a direction that begins to make sense over time. It will show you what needs your attention and what no longer deserves your energy. And as you begin to follow that direction, things will start to align in ways that once felt impossible or out of reach. Not instantly, but steadily, in a way that builds rather than overwhelms. And there is something else you need to understand about this moment. It is not random communication. It is not just coincidence. It is alignment meeting awareness. It is everything you have been through coming together in a way that creates clarity. And when that clarity appears, it will not feel forced or confusing. It will feel natural, almost as if you already knew it deep down, but were waiting for something to confirm it. So when this message arrives, don't rush past it. Don't dismiss it because it seems too simple or too small. Pay attention to how it makes you feel, what it brings to your awareness, and what it begins to shift in your thinking. Because this is the kind of moment that doesn't look significant at first, but becomes the turning point you later realize changed everything. And now, as everything begins to come into focus, this is the part you cannot afford to ignore. Because moments like this don't repeat themselves in the same way. What is about to reach you is not just another piece of information, not just another interaction, not just another passing experience. It is a turning point, but not in the way people usually expect. It will not come with noise or urgency from the outside. It will come quietly, and the only thing that will determine its impact is whether you are present enough to recognize it when it happens. This is where your awareness becomes everything, because the message itself is only one part of the shift. The other part is how you respond to it. You may feel the urge to question it, to overthink it, to doubt whether it truly matters. That is natural. But this is where you need to trust the clarity you've developed. Not blindly, not without thought, but with the understanding that you are no longer the same person who once overlooked important moments. You have grown into someone who can pause, reflect, and recognize when something carries deeper meaning. There is also a reason why this moment is happening now and not later. Because delaying your response could delay the path that is opening in front of you. Not everything in life requires immediate action, but some moments require immediate awareness. This is one of those moments. If you dismiss it or let it pass without paying attention, you may not lose the opportunity completely, but you may postpone the direction it is trying to guide you toward. And that is why being present right now matters more than ever. At the same time, don't expect everything to change instantly. This is not about sudden transformation in a single moment. It is about a shift in direction that begins with understanding. Once you recognize what this message is pointing toward, your decisions will start to change. Your focus will start to adjust. You will begin to move in a way that aligns with something you didn't fully see before. And over time, that small shift will create a much larger impact than you realize in the beginning. So as you move forward from this point, stay aware of what comes into your life next. Pay attention to what stands out, what feels different, what seems to carry more weight than usual. Trust the sense of clarity that begins to form within you, even if it's subtle at first. Because that clarity is guiding you step by step towards something that has been waiting for the right moment to reach you. And most importantly, understand this. You are not being tested in this moment. You are being guided. You are not being pushed into something uncertain. You are being shown something that is already aligned with where you are meant to go. The message you didn't expect is not here to confuse you. It is here to direct you. And once you recognize it for what it is, you will realize that this moment was never random. It was the point where everything you've experienced began to come together, leading you exactly where you were always meant to be.